If you want to start paying some of your bills through reselling, but you're not really sure where to start, come on, I'll show you how I do it. Hi guys, my name is Angela and I've been a stay-at-home mom and a homeschool mom basically my entire adult life. And now I'm here teaching you about something that has sustained me over the years and helped my family to be able to afford all kinds of things, even when times were tight. And that is reselling. So this week I'm going to be showing you all kinds of items across the board that sold for me, big, small, more expensive, less expensive, across all kinds of platforms, so you know what you can pick up when you're out there picking and looking for things to flip for a profit. You what sold, I'll tell you where I got it, how long it took to sell, how much I paid for it, and how much I flipped it for. That way you can get the whole picture. I think you guys are gonna love it. Make sure you stay to the end of the video. I'm gonna tell you about something that happened this week that kind of devastated me, but it is what it is. Go ahead and drop a comment here before you change your mind or decide you don't want to, and like this video. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get started with eBay. I paid less than 25 cents for this vintage large rubber stamp and it sold for $8 on eBay. It probably took about 5 months. This was from the Goodwill bins, so definitely less than 25 cents because you pay by the pound there, and this was really lightweight. I do only like to pick up stamps generally unless I have a bundle of them if they are about 4 inches or larger, so this was a good little flip. Next up are some vintage glass ornaments by Petrovsky. These were in the box, but they were flaking a little bit. I paid $1.99 for these at a thrift store, and they sold for $17 on eBay. Now, these did take a while to sell. I had them for about 8 months, and they hadn't moved, so I did delete and sell similar in November because I figured it would be time for people to be Christmas shopping again, and then it sold in less than a week. So sometimes it's good to delete a listing and click sell similar and give them a fresh start. Glad for this sale, isn't it cute? Next up, Rimmel eyeliner. Whenever I'm buying these for like 10 cents at a garage sale, I know it's going to be a small flip. Sometimes they'll go for more like 10 bucks, but this one only went for $4.90. It did take a very long time to sell, probably about a year. I picked it up with a bunch of other makeup products that were already paid off, so this was pure profit. Sometimes if they're new old stock, you'll want to look them up and see if they have any value to you. And if not, it's okay to leave those behind. Another small flip, but a fast flip, only a week, $7.50 for this dirty, clean dishwasher sign. When I picked this up for $1.99 at Goodwill, I knew it wasn't going to flip for much. Kind of thought maybe it would go on Marketplace, but I was surprised to see it went on eBay. So again, a small flip, but does get the algorithm going for your store. So sometimes it's worth it to take these little flips. For some people, this won't make sense. For me, it does. $10.50 on eBay for this Cricut cartridge Good Luck Graduate Summer Collection. This was new in the package. I paid $1 for it at a garage sale where someone was getting rid of her entire Etsy store. And I looked up the comps to see if it would sell, and sure enough, it did. So $1 to $10, I'll take that any day. I did take lots of photos so people could see there was no damage to the package. It was in great new condition. I paid $1.99 for this vitamin C serum at the Goodwill. I found some other things that were on the same brand as well, and I did have to run comps because I had never heard of this. It flipped in about 3 weeks for $21, so a good pickup. And whenever you see new old stock or even new in the box beauty products, make sure you look them up. They could be worth something and you could have a good flip online. I also take a picture of it out of the box so people can see exactly what they're getting. $16 for this vintage queen flat sheet set with a pillowcase. I paid $1.99 for this at a thrift store. I thought this fabric was absolutely beautiful. Now, I do have a tip. If you find an old sheet and it doesn't come with a set, you can still pick that up and sell it as vintage fabric. Show lots of close pictures like this. Roses do especially well. This is very shabby chic, and I know someone's going to absolutely love it. $19 for these vintage Christmas ornaments. Now, these took about 6 or 7 months to sell because I bought them when it wasn't the right season for them to be selling, but they did finally sell. I did strategically relist these when it was coming up on November so that someone could find them and put them on their Christmas tree this year. So took lots of photos. They did have the old boxes, and even though the boxes were damaged, they still sold. $19 for these vintage 90s CD-ROM Barbie games. So I took lots of pictures of these. These were only $1 a piece at a thrift store where they had them all together. So, I do like to bundle up DVDs, CDs, VHS tapes, things like that. And it helps for a faster sale. So I thought these were really cool. I did check for scratches. There were a few, but I always tell the buyers they can return items if they need to. $30 for this lot of 6 women's jockeys underwear. These were at an estate sale. They were, I believe, only $1 a piece, so a good little flip. I almost feel like maybe I priced these too low at $30 because they sold in 2 days. I took lots of photos so they could see they were from the early 2000s. I didn't even. Oh, wait a sec. Oh, never mind, never mind. My brain's getting away from me. And also take pictures of the size so people know exactly what they're getting. $32 for this vintage queen fitted sheet set. I actually sold another one of these recently, and you may have seen that in my last What Sold video. I picked these up at an estate sale. If you like estate sale Thrift With Me videos and you want to see how I walk through those estate sales, go check one of those videos out after this. I think you're really going to love it. These vintage new old stock sheet sets can tend to do very well, so keep an eye out for this brand. I paid $1 for this at a yard sale, $7.70. When I bought it, I even thought to myself, why am I picking this up? But I did pick it up anyway. I don't know. Sometimes you just make impulse buys. I probably wouldn't suggest this to anyone just because it did take a while to sell, probably, I don't know, 5 months or so, and it was a small sale. So, I mean, it's sold. Hey, that's all there is to it. And sometimes that's the way it goes. $39 for this beautiful 1970s tiger blanket. If you guys didn't catch the estate sale where I bought this, I also bought a Tapestry Buzz Lightyear blanket that did really well. I used an AI background for this. I took lots of measurements. You guys don't see all the photos that I use here because the video would be hours long, but here's a picture of what it looked like up close. I do suggest picking up vintage tiger acrylic blankets. They always do well for me. Took about a month. $15 for this vintage slip. I thought this was really beautiful, made in the USA. I paid $1 for this at a yard sale a very long time ago, maybe 7 months ago. I had it in a lot with some other slips. They ended up just wanting a couple of them. So I took this one out on its own and made it its own listing. So take lots of pictures close up of the lace, make sure you get the length here. And yeah, good little flip. $15 for these vintage military spectacle inserts. So I also took a picture of the little Shopco case they came in. I did do a big bulk military buy from someone at a garage sale this fall. You may have seen that. This took about a month and a half to sell, and it was a cool little sale. These are all pure profit for me now because I already had enough money come in to pay that big bulk buy off. So good little sale here. Keep an eye out for something like this. $27 for this vintage Johnson's baby powder. I bought this for $2 at an estate sale. This sold in just 2 days on eBay. When I was there, my son's fiance said, "You're buying that old baby powder?" And I said, "Oh yeah, it'll sell." So another example of just unusual things to look for when you're out at estate sales or garage sales. New old stock will sell, and this was new. It had all the baby powder left in it. Next up, this vintage unfinished, well, no, it was finished. It was unframed 1960s cross-stitch piece. This was probably like 25 cents at the Goodwill bins. This sold in about 2 months, a really great sale. Someone put so much work into this. And this is why I love shopping the bins, because I can save items like this from the landfill when otherwise they would be tossed in the trash. Can you imagine? So good sale on eBay. And I suggest you keep an eye out. I paid $1.99 for this Build-A-Bear Disney villain mermaid, Little Mermaid Ursula plush, excuse me. It took about 2 months to sell for $10.50 on eBay. It would have sold for more if her sound was working, but the sound was not working. However, her hair was in really good condition. Everything else about her seemed brand new. This is the little BAB that you want to look for on those plush. I paid $1.99 for these vintage 90s pillow shams, and they sold for $11.90 in about a month and a half. This is kind of funny, but I put the words Home Alone house in the description because for some reason these reminded me of the fancy greens and reds that you saw in the Home Alone house on the parents' bed. I don't know, but maybe that keyword worked, maybe it didn't. But just think about what people are looking for when they're searching for your items online and use those keywords. $9.60 for this vintage 1966 cookbook, The First Ladies. I bought this for 25 cents at the Goodwill bins. I wasn't actually sure if it would sell or not because I couldn't find a lot of comps for it, but I went ahead and took pictures of it, listed it. It probably took about 3 or 4 months to sell. Good little flip, and I love selling cookbooks, especially vintage cookbooks like this. I know someone loved this. I paid $1.99 for this vintage Pier 1 throw pillow, and it sold for $14.70. Took a little while, maybe about 6 months, maybe 5 months. But if you can buy them for a couple bucks or less, look for Pier 1 pillows, especially these satiny ones. So burn this into your brain. Here's what the little tag looks like on the zipper, and it was a good little sale. Pier 1 pillows tend to do well for me because they're just not around anymore. Here's a weird flip for you. This was a vintage homemade cassette tape. Somebody wrapping. This was a mystery cassette tape. I didn't even test it out to see if it worked. This was left over from a storage unit a long time ago, so it's pure profit. I've probably had it for about 7 months, and it finally sold after I did delete and sell similar. So kind of interesting. You just never know what's going to sell out there, but I have sold some mystery cassettes and mystery VHS tapes in the past. It's an interesting world. $15 for these new with tag. Is it Papo or Papo figures? I don't know. Confederate Galaxy. They were just different kinds of figures. I found them at the bins, so paid less than $1 for these all together. I don't even think these all went together, but I did put them in a lot, and I'm sure someone that works on either collections or maybe I don't know what you call those little scenes that you put them in might have liked these. I don't know, but they did sell, so good little flip. $10 for this Littlest Pet Shop pink playhouse. I wasn't really sure exactly what it's called. It was missing the sign. I made sure I took photos and took measurements so they could see exactly what they were getting. This is pure profit because the other items that I had in a big Littlest Pet Shop lot have already sold and paid the lot off. So you can keep an eye out for these, but you need to keep in mind Littlest Pet Shop houses are not generally going to go for big money. So keep that in mind. $11.50 on this lot of vintage 1980s Bruce Lee magazines. I did put these on auction because I wasn't sure what they would go for. I started at $8, but somehow these were also in the military buy that I bought. They were at the bottom of the bin with the rest of his dad's stuff. So I went ahead and sold these. I did make pure profit on this because that military buy is already paid off. $12 for this vintage 1960s shiny bright Christmas angel. She does spin and play music. Absolutely adorable. I only paid $1.99 for her at a Goodwill, so make sure you take your measurements so people can know exactly what they're getting. And this little bottom that looks like a plastic round thingy, that usually means that you can try to spin it and it'll make music. And look at her beautiful lashes. Isn't she adorable? $10 for this vintage 1970s sewing pattern. So not all sewing patterns are going to sell, but I do like 1970s especially. They tend to do well and earlier. If you can get them for really cheap, pick them up. Don't pay too much for these. This I bought in a bulk buy with a bunch of others for only $10 for the whole thing, for hundreds of them. So it's already paid off, and this $10 is pure profit. Always take a picture of the bottom, of the back. That's where you're going to see the year, and people are going to want to know that. This was also unused, so that helps. $19 for this vintage wood coffee mug tree stand, excuse me. I did use an AI background for this, and you can see it's not in perfect condition, but these are very in right now with cottagecore styles that are going viral. So I knew it would sell. I thought maybe it would be Marketplace, but it did sell on eBay. So my Marketplace actually was really stagnant this week somehow. Took lots of photos, and there you go. Good little flip in about 2 weeks. $7.50 for this vintage set of new old stock dinosaur cookie cutters. These were less than $1 at the Goodwill bins. They still had the box with them. I think these were, well, yeah, they were definitely vintage. I remember checking the back. So take lots of photos. Even if your box is damaged, people will still want to buy things as long as the product is in good shape. Now, it may affect the value, so you need to run your comps on that. But here they are close up. $9.35 for this 80s Disney Mickey Mouse men's silk tie. I think I paid $1 for this or $1.99 at a thrift store. I honestly don't remember for sure. I think this took a couple of months to sell. Always take measurements of your tie, show the front and back, show the tag that says it is 100% silk. I do really like selling only 100% silk men's ties, and sometimes they can sit a while, so be aware. $27 for this vintage Cruel framed art. I found this at an estate sale a while back that my daughter and I went to. It was very sweet, probably going to be great for a nursery. It was quite large, about 13 by 21 inches, I believe, but not hard to ship as long as you have the right box. So yeah, I took some closer photos here. Someone put a lot of love into this, and I love saving items like this. Next up, this vintage Sanrio green anime frog insulated tote lunch bag. Okay, finally got that out. This was at the Goodwill bins, definitely less than $1 because of the weight. And it was a good sale, probably took about 2 to 3 months to sell. It wasn't in perfect condition. I did make sure I took photos of that, but the inside was in great condition. And I liked that about it. I did run this through a wash, and that helped a little bit, but don't be afraid to sell items even if they're not perfect, as long as you check your comps and make sure it's still gonna go for you. This was so weird, but huge. 5-foot skeleton stuffed, cloth sewn, handmade. I got this at the Goodwill bins. I probably paid less than $5 for it, maybe even less than four, and it sold for $50 on eBay in about 2 months. I did find this right before Halloween somehow, but I wanted to show you guys some closer photos. It was really cute. It had these little pinwheels on all the joints and a little pumpkin sewn on the front. So cute. $14 for this vintage baby dress with the little strawberries. Anytime I have a baby dress that has lots of little ruffles, if I find it for $1.99 or less, I do tend to pick those up. Not all baby dresses are going to do well. Look for vintage, ruffly, lacy, something really cute about them, and use those words in the keywords as well. This probably only took about a month to sell, so good little flip. Only a few sales on Poshmark. This one was $10. I had this for well over a year, an old coloring book that was half colored on. I took some photos of it. I even took photos of some of the pages that were colored. I don't suggest picking up coloring books unless you have them for really cheap and you don't mind sitting on them for a long time. This was at a garage sale for only 25 cents, so I still made money on it, but wow, did it take a long time. So yeah, that's that. It was still a sale. $15 for this vintage Dungeons and Dragons map. Excuse me. I found this at the Goodwill bins, paid less than $1 for it by the weight, and I thought, hey, my goodness, my words. Dungeons and Dragons vintage usually sells for me. So I did pick it up, took lots of photos. It was a good size map, and it did sell. Probably took about 4 months and sold on Poshmark for me. And next up, we're getting into Mercari. $13 for this vintage picture frame, brass ornate. I got this from an estate sale for $1 on half price day. I did get some other vintage brass frames like this one as well. You may think that those will go for big money, but they usually don't. They'll usually be bread and butter sales, but that's okay. Just make sure you know how to pack these and ship these. I do have a shipping video coming out soon that you guys are going to want to take a look at. So if you're not sure how to ship hard goods, you'll want to tune into that. $13 for these vintage satin covered cloth hangers. I actually sold these in the middle of my inventory clean out. I couldn't believe it because I've had them for so long. But finally they moved. It's probably been almost a year. I did take lots of photos of the sides, the front, the back, the one unusual one, and they finally sold. They can sit a while, but satin hangers can be a good pick if you get them cheap enough. Next up was a vintage Fisher-Price Little People elephant, $9.69. I did take an offer on this because it had been sitting for so long. I had this for probably about 10 months. I bought it for only $1 at a sale. If you push the little yellow bird on top, he will make a noise, so kind of fun little sale. But yeah, I had another one that sold for asking price, which was 17, and this one ended up selling for 9, but I just wanted them out, ready to move on to something else. Also took an offer on this vintage Estee Lauder Youth Dew perfume. So this was $7. You cannot sell used perfume or half-empty bottles of perfume on eBay, so don't put them on there. This sold on Mercari. You can put them on there. I paid 25 cents for this from an estate sale with a bunch of other little tiny perfumes. So just don't forget, don't put used perfume or open perfume on eBay. And now a few marketplace sales, $29 for this vintage 1970s fabric. I didn't take a lot of photos of this, but I just want to show you up close. This is a cotton fabric. It almost looked like it could have been used for a 1970s sheet set. I took measurements. There were measurements in the listing, excuse me, but this is what it looked like up close. Good little sale, took a couple weeks. $15 on Facebook Marketplace for this men's Roundtree and York plaid shirt. This was new with tags. I had it for $1 from a garage sale. I normally don't like to sell clothes. If you guys have been watching this channel very long, I don't like to sell clothes, but I did pick it up because there weren't a lot of other things at this garage sale, and I thought, well, maybe it'll sell. And it did. So not a big flip, but $1 into $15, I'll take that. This vintage steam juicer sold on Facebook Marketplace. I actually didn't even put this on eBay. I only put it on Facebook Marketplace because it was such a large item. I did take pictures of the inside and the outside so they could clearly see that it was used. They paid $30 for this, and I got this for $3.99 at a Goodwill quite some time ago. So a good flip, probably took about 3 months to flip, and I was happy to get it out to someone who will use it. $17 for this vintage 90s military camouflage uniform jacket. This was another marketplace sale. Again, this came from the military bulk buy that is already paid off, so it's pure profit. I do like to ask if they want anything else that's military related before they come pick up, because they might want something else from my store, but this fella only wanted this jacket, and that was perfectly fine. Take lots of photos, and make sure you take a photo of the tag inside also. Next up, Vicky bought these for $11. These are vintage primitive metal cookie cutters. She actually showed me a picture of what she's making with them, and it's a really cute Christmas wreath where she's going to put these all together. So it's going to be really darling. I bought these for only $1 at a garage sale. It was the whole bundle of them, but you can actually pick these a little bit at a time and then make a bundle like this. So keep that in mind if you find them really cheap. Next up is a 1980s Cabbage Patch dress. I sold it to a person who's bought some other Cabbage Patch things from me before on Marketplace, and she restores old Cabbage Patches. I bought this for $1 and sold it for $10. If you have Cabbage Patches, watch my video on how to sell those best. It's in my playlists.
Guys, and here's the little sad news that hurt my business over the past week. I had someone leave negative feedback on my eBay before they even received the item. They thought it was taking too long. That was out of my control. They had the tracking number, it was on its way, and they left negative feedback anyway. Suggested that eBay go in and take a look at that and remove the negative feedback, because the buyer even got the item later and messaged me privately and said, I love this, and still would not remove the negative feedback. So I'm kind of sad about it. And when that happens, it does put a ding on your store. And I could tell that a lot less people were seeing my items. My sales slowed down. But I'll tell you guys what, the key to moving forward in your reselling business for years, for the long term, is to just keep going. Things like that are going to happen. You just got to brush it off and keep going. I hope that was helpful to you. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. I'm going to drop some links to some other videos here on the end screen. You'll see some pop up so you can check out some of my other videos. I have Thrift with Me videos so that you can go see exactly where I'm shopping, how I'm shopping, and what I'm buying. It's my dishwasher running in the background. What can I say? It's still going. And there's other videos I think you'll find helpful as well. So make sure you check those out and drop it in the comments here if you would like a copy of my free ebook that helps you get started or restart your reselling business. It's called Reselling Made Simple, and I think you're gonna love it. Just make sure you drop me a comment and let me know you need it, and we'll see you there in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you wanna see more content like this. Thanks, guys. See you next time.